Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast. I am your host, Richie, here with my guys, Mr. Idris Salam, a.k.a. Bosco from the Bronx, my man, Brett Bandick, Winter Haven, Florida, and I am your host, Richie, out here in beautiful St. Cloud, Florida. On tonight's show, we're going to be hitting on the AFC South. This is a division that saw a Houston Texans team come from obscurity and were one round away from the AFC title game. This is a division that saw three teams with a chance to win it going into the final 2 weeks. A usual heavy hitter, the Tennessee Titans, have been on the downslide the last couple of years and are now going to be without King Henry, but they are making an overall commitment to still fixing their defense. And in this division, truthfully, it really could be anybody's depending on the play of all the quarterbacks. Truthfully, Houston ascending into just a skosh under the elite of the league. I said this to Brett off air today. A challenge for them will naturally be drawing a tougher schedule. That's what comes with the territory when you win a division and you catch the league off guard. Now they have tape on you. Now they're ready. D'Amico Ryans has done a phenomenal job. Shane Steichen out in Indy. Definitely an intriguing situation there with the return of AR-15, Mr. Anthony Richardson. Can Will Levis get it done with Calvin Ridley and a right now injured DeAndre Hopkins, who hopefully will be back by midseason, maybe sooner? And of course, we got to talk about Trevor Lawrence and if Doug Peterson can cultivate him into what everybody expects him to be for the big picture. Trevor Lawrence has a world of talent, but can he keep the turnovers down and make the big plays when necessary? We're going to get in on it in just a moment. Enjoy this intro, and we will be right back. All right, we are back. Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast here on YouTube with my guys. All right, AFC South, a very interesting division year to year, similar to the South Division in the NFC. Usually, most seasons, it literally is anyone's division to win pretty much since Peyton Manning hung it up and since he left Indy. When Peyton was in Indy, it was always Indy's division to lose most years. Since then, it has truly been wide open. Tennessee had a little bit of a run. Jacksonville had a little bit of a run. Last year, we got to see the Houston Texans, a year removed from being on the bottom of the NFL, as I already alluded to, just a game away from the AFC title game. And we're going to dive into the schedules of these teams. We're going to dive into the additions of these teams, and we're going to give our best analysis on who we think is going to come out on top here. We're going to start from the bottom, always moving to the top. The Tennessee Titans. Key additions via the draft. Tackle J.C. Latham, Alabama. Tavondre Sweat from Texas. Cedric Dre, North Carolina. Jarvis Brownlee, the corner from Louisville. As I stated, this team has been working on their defense. Wide receiver Jaquan Jackson out of Tulane. Safety James Williams out of Miami, Florida. Edge Jalen Harrell from the national champion Michigan Wolverines. Couple of additions here via free agency. We got Calvin Ridley, former Cowboy Tony Pollard, Lloyd Cushenberry, a very good center. Defensive tackle Sebastian Joseph Day, wide receiver Nick Westbrook Eckheim, re-signed. Mason Rudolph, the journeyman quarterback who was backing up many a Steeler quarterback. They got Nick Folk, the former Patriot. Linebacker Kenneth Murray Jr. Chidobe Awuzie, one of the fastest men in the NFL. Long snapper. We got Shadiq Charles. And these are some of the losses here. Derrick Henry, a staple of that offense for years, is a Raven. Aziz Al-Shahir is with the Texans. Center Aaron Brewer, cornerback Sean Murphy-Bunting, both Cardinals. Wide receiver Chris Moore, Cardinal. Safety Kayvon Wallace, a Seahawk. And edge Trevis Gibson is in division rival Jacksonville. One thing I noticed about this division, when guys move around and leave, they stay in the division, which is an interesting caveat to what we have here. And for the viewers, I'm going to put up their schedule. I'm going to start with you, Bretsky. This is a team that brought in DeAndre Hopkins, a potential future Hall of Famer. The PED thing a year ago might hurt him.
Right.
But in your opinion, him and Calvin Ridley, they bring in two quality running backs. You got Tony Pollard, who had some success with Dallas. Tajay Spears is the second-year man. This could be a bust out for him. They made a big move getting Latham in the draft to solidify the offensive line. Do you think Tennessee could be a sleeper this year that could get back to playing their brand of football?
Could they be a sleeper? Yes, absolutely. Do I believe they will? No. Just because of that schedule I just saw. The last 6-7 weeks, they're especially 4 weeks, they're all divisional games.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Even the first 4 weeks look a little intimidating, if you ask me.
It's a little bleak. Listen, I've always been a fan of D-Hop. The man catches anything that's thrown near him or away from him. He's saved a lot of quarterbacks' careers. Let's put it that way. I like Calvin Ridley. He did wonders for me in my fantasy team last year. And, we've all seen what Tony Pollard can do behind a really good offensive line. In Tennessee, look what they did with Derrick Henry. You know what I mean? They had a really good offensive line. The only problem was that you knew when Derrick Henry was getting the ball. At least with Tony Pollard and Spears, you really don't know who's going to get the ball and when. And Will Levis, the guy has a cannon. I love the kid's arm, but I just don't know if he's not there yet. He's not there yet. I get a couple years, absolutely, but he's not there yet. I believe they're going to compete. They absolutely will compete.
Oh, Mike Vrabel team is going to compete.
Yeah, no, they're not going to quit, which is what you want to see in a football team.
Vrabel's not the coach.
Where'd Vrabel go?
Vrabel's in Cleveland.
Is he?
Yeah, Vrabel's in Cleveland.
I don't know that.
Yeah, Vrabel's in Cleveland.
Yeah, I know.
Personal consultant for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah. In Cleveland.
But no, I
just had a time lapse there.
Team isn't. They're not there yet. I have this team finishing last in the division at 8-9. Yeah, like I said, they're going to compete. This whole division.
Brian Callahan.
This whole division.
40 years old.
Yeah.
This whole division is like trying to shoot. It's like we're doing an AFC North division. You know what I mean? Like anybody can really come out of this division. I just don't think Tennessee's there yet. But yeah, I had them finishing last 8-9.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. You're real nice, Brett. But I'm looking at the first 8 games. They go to Chicago. They play the Jets. They play the Packers. They play the Dolphins. They play the Colts. They play the Bills. They
Yeah,
got
but
the
they're playing
Lions.
in September.
And then they play New England. You're talking 8 games, and I see maybe one win. I don't know. They may not even beat the Patriots in week 8. Chicago be a toss-up, but they're not beating the Jets. They're not beating Green Bay. They're not beating our high-powered Dolphins team. The Colts, I'm not sure they're beating the Colts. They're not going to go to Buffalo and beat Buffalo. They're not going to go to Detroit and beat Detroit.
I apologize for the time lapse.
They have Levis. Like I said, I wasn't a fan of him coming out of college. He has a great arm.
He's got a cannon, dude.
He does. But Tony Pollard is not Derrick Henry.
No, I know.
Tony Pollard is a slasher. And that offensive line in Tennessee is not like that offensive line in Dallas. And Pollard barely made 1,000 yards with that offensive line in Dallas.
I do love the fact that they addressed the blind side.
They did.
I do like that move. I thought that was very necessary for this team to do. Defensively, I think they're going to be all right.
I think defensively they're going to be okay.
I'm just not convinced that they're going to score enough points.
Yeah, exactly. Offensively, because Hopkins, he's slowing down, dude. He's slowing down. Ridley didn't really get much play, but I think he'll come back with a vengeance. But I don't see 8 wins, man.
Yeah, Calvin Ridley was a weird one because, he had the gambling thing in Atlanta.
Yeah.
He kind of, Jacksonville kicked the tires on him.
Yeah.
I don't like this offense all the way through. If they're going to surprise people, they've got to be able to run the rock at a high volume and at an efficiency level that I honestly just don't think you're going to be able to replicate, even with 2 running backs, the consistent production that was brought home by King Henry. I mean, I actually think Spears is going to ultimately take the snaps away from Pollard. I think Spears towards the end of the season is going to actually win out the job.
Their first 10 games, man, it's golly. I mean, after they played in England, they still got to play the Chargers. They got to play the Vikings. They got to go to Houston. Then they got to play the Commanders. Those first 12 games, man, they might win. They might win 2 games. I got them winning 5 games this year, man.
I'm just going to keep this up.
I'd say 5-12, man. They're still in the 6, man.
Yeah, I'm going to go, to be frank with you, I think I've been trying to figure out who's going to be my 5th worst team in the NFL because in no particular order, I got the Carolina Panthers, the New Orleans Saints, the New England Patriots, potentially the worst 3. I have a strong opinion that this team could be a top 5 draft pick next year.
Yeah.
I do believe that.
That schedule is crazy. And I'm talking about outside their division. The schedule is crazy.
And I have a weird feeling that Minnesota is also going to go through a tough patch.
They are.
Yeah, I would not be the least bit surprised. What up, Nunez? I would not be the least bit surprised if Minnesota, now with J.J. McCarthy, we're going to find out what the severity of this knee thing is. Yeah, I would not be the least bit surprised if he has an issue as well. And Sam Darnold has never won in this league at any consistent metric. So why do I believe that he's going to do that now? I don't.
Yeah.
I got 5 wins, 5-12 for these Titans. Last place finish, potentially, depending on. They're picking in the top 5 to 7, is my opinion for this franchise.
Yeah.
I don't believe that they're going to do well enough. That guy that I forgot wasn't coaching the team. He was a pretty good coach.
He was, and he's a defensive coach.
Yeah. They did give the defense love, but on to the next. Indianapolis Colts. This is a team that I'm waiting to see. A couple of years ago, I thought they were going to do more. The hard thing for this division in general is that they're playing the NFC North as well as the AFC North. I alluded at the beginning of the show how the crappy part for the Houston Texans is that you get the best teams. And this schedule in general for this division is tough enough.
Yeah.
Just kind of letting it roll through just a little here. The Colts did finish third in the South with a 9-8 record. They've been close a couple of the last few years making the playoffs, with the exception of 22 when it came down to Nick Foles actually quarterbacking the team. That was a nightmare. They had a bunch of just bad quarterback play. This has been a team.
He's only good in Philly. That's it.
You know, is AR-15 the guy is the question. You know, last year he got hurt. You know,
got a real good old man behind him, so he better watch it.
Yeah. Well, he did. He did. The thing is, he does again with Flacco.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But I'm over here just kind of scoping out this schedule. Ooh. They gotta win for the Colts. For the Colts to have any chance at a playoff berth, they got to at least be 3-3 in this division, which would mean either splitting with the Jags and Texans, or however you get to 3 wins in this division, they're going to at minimum need to win 3 in this division. I do believe that with the reinsertion of AR-15 and hopefully a healthy Jonathan Taylor, I have a feeling that Michael Pittman's numbers are going to be down this year. I don't think they're going to be as outstanding as last season. I still feel that if you're drafting a fantasy team, don't be afraid to draft him. I just don't think he's going to have the year that he did last year. But this is a team that I think low-key has had a pretty good defense for a little bit of time. And essentially what has held this organization back for the better part of the last – I don't know. When Andrew Luck hung it up, this team has been searching high and low for a quarterback. They want the veteran route. They had Rivers. They had Wentz. They signed Foles for they want the veteran route. This kid Richardson has all the tools to be a star in this league.
If he can stay healthy. I think the best quarterback they had since Andrew Luck has got to be Gardner Minshew.
I tend to agree. I tend to agree. I'm looking at the schedule, and I must admit that on the bad side of things, they might not catch a W until week 7, but they could also be a 500 team going into that week, and that speaks on the competitive nature of this division. But I'll be honest, this particular division has a very tough schedule.
Yeah.
Bretsky. Can the Colts get back to knocking on the door of being a wild card? They did.
They could be another dark horse team, but there's so many question marks. Can Jonathan Taylor get back to prime form? I don't know. I'm hoping for the guy to do it. I want to see the guy in a top 3 fantasy list again. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see him.
It's been a minute.
I'm predicting, call it crazy here, but AR-15, man, the guy's gonna get hurt. He's like the next, RG3. You know what I mean?
Feel that way? You really think he's gonna get hurt again?
Dude, and it's no knock against him. It's just the way that he plays the game.
He plays the game. Yep.
I'll tell you what, though.
It's not a knock on talent. It's not a knock on his talent, because we all know he's very talented. It's how he plays. If he becomes a pocket passer, for the next couple of seasons, those injuries are going to slowly go away. But the way that he runs the ball, the time management, how he runs, the guy's going to get hurt. And lo and behold, legend has it, Joe Flacco. We talked about him. He's coming right behind him. That man is notorious for carrying teams like this.
Exactly.
Okay. This is how I think the O-line is in a decent enough place right now.
And the thing is, Joe Flacco is now playing in a dome.
But dude, I'm stoked about this. I'm stoked about this Adonai Mitchell. His combine was pretty sick. I like the idea of Adonai and Pittman hooking up together. That is exciting. I feel that they gave the offensive line the right amount of love, and we already know that you have a perennial Pro Bowler that is already a part of what they do there. It comes down to AR-15. I think Jonathan Taylor is going to bring his A game this year. I think it's going to be all about football this year for him. The defense will be good. I mean, last year this is a team that defeated the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore.
Yep.
This is a team that is 2 seasons removed from beating Patrick Mahomes. They've had some signature victories. They just have not been able to finish out the final month of the season strong enough to win the division. What did them in last year was the way they played head up in the division. I think this year I'm going to go 3-3 in the division. I actually agree with you, Nunez. I got them going 9-8 as well. 9-8 as well. But I think what prevents them from being in the playoffs is they're not going to have the right win tally against the other 2 teams that are going to be vying for the same situation.
What was your record, Bresky?
Mine, I didn't say. I kind of agree, 9-8. If Joe Flacco comes in, saves the day, 10-7. But I'm gonna say 9-8 though. I'm gonna say 9-8.
I agree with what Brett said about AR-15 because the way he plays, he doesn't know how to get down. He wants to challenge the defense. He wants to run, and that he got hurt twice last year. The second time he got hurt, it was for the season.
Yep.
And with Joe Flacco, like Brett said, he's in a dome, and he's in the AFC South. You go to warm Jacksonville to play. You go to a dome stadium, retractable dome in Houston. The only cold place you go is Tennessee. And they got Tennessee early. Yeah, they got Tennessee early.
What I'm looking for is that week 7 against the
They got the NFC North this year. The Packers are outdoors, but Minnesota's indoors. Detroit's indoors. You got that one game with Chicago. And they got that game. Oh, and they play that at home. So, in fact, they play the Packers at. Okay, they go to Green Bay.
Since Brett had to be a wise ass, I'm just going to highlight one particular game.
Yeah.
Not exactly a rematch of the greatest game ever played in Yankee Stadium.
Oh.
But in your opinion, Idris, how will our beloved New York Giants match up with these guys? Oh, by the way, speaking of our boys, not to get too far off task, Tyrone Tracy left in an air cast today.
Yeah.
Not a good sign for the rookie running back out of Purdue.
Yeah. He's a good one, too.
Raekwon Davis, nice pickup. I like this roster. I do.
So
I like the roster.
It's my Indy, right?
Yeah. I like the roster.
I do, too. I mean, they didn't have really any significant losses. I mean, I like what they draft. I mean, if Jonathan Taylor stays in his game, Pittman's a good backup. AR-15 doesn't get hurt. I mean, even if he gets hurt, I think Joe Flacco will come in there. And I think with Joe Flacco being in there, they'll run the ball more. And like Brett said, Flacco got it. These are the type of teams that Flacco makes look good.
Yeah.
These are the type of teams.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 9-8. It's always gonna depend on the division. I think they can get to 10-7.
I think 10's the magic. I think 10's the magic number if they're going to get it.
Playoff berth, I don't know. Not because I don't think they're a good team, but the rest of the AFC, especially the AFC East, it's possible they get 3 teams in.
Well, here's my out of that whole division, the AFC South, the Colts, no joke, and you guys can bash me on this if you want, but I think they have the less talented wide receiving core out of everybody in that AFC South division.
I agree. They got a good core. They got a good core receiver.
I think it depends.
I think it's less talented.
I think it depends on if D-Hop's healthy, because I think D-Hop is more about name notoriety. I would actually say the Tennessee Titans have the least talented receiving room, because I don't think D-Hop is who he used to be.
Could be.
Now, Donnie Mitchell is going to be a good player, and I think Pittman is damn good, because Pittman –
be there for D-Hop, but the man can still catch every friggin' ball thrown in his direction.
Hey, but
yeah,
Brett,
but when you're only playing 8 games a year, that don't really mean a lot right now.
Let me ask you, Brett, do you think AR-15 makes it through the season? Well, do you think Flacco gets on the field?
Yes, I do.
I do too.
I kind of got that vibe that it might happen.
I think Flacco gets on the field.
Yes, I do.
I think if Flacco get on that field and he gets that team rolling, I think they stick with him the rest of the season. Because if he got that team flowing and they're like handling it, like, because it's not like their schedule is cream puffs either. But I think if they probably lose against Houston, Green Bay.
I think you'll see Flacco under center by week 12, week 13.
I think it'd be sooner than that. I'm thinking about week 8.
Maybe.
I think by week 8.
Do the Colts draw the Browns this year? I don't believe they do. The Browns finished. Browns were they don't get them this year.
No, they don't got them.
That would have been a cool. I mean, you never know if they.
That'd have been dope. Yeah.
But that would be kind of cool, because I think everybody loves to talk about our man DJ in New York. But I think the worst contract for quarterbacks in the NFL is that Deshaun Watson deal.
It's going to be it. Yeah.
I mean, Rich, you say it all the time. Like that deal ruined the market.
I think that's the worst deal. And I think the Russell Wilson trade and all that to Denver, I think that was the worst.
Thank you for mentioning Denver. That's my other bottom 5 team this year. Daniel Nunez with a question. Here's my question. Sorry, guys, going off topic. Will we be seeing Brandon Ayuk in a Steelers jersey this season? I'll be honest with you, Daniel. It's been such a saga back and forth that I think it's a 50-50, but I'm going to say no. I have a feeling that that's going to fall through and it's not happening. Just my opinion. I might be wrong.
Yeah,
put him in a uniform. I'll be happy with that.
You said put him in what?
Put him in a cheerleader uniform. I'm done. Yeah. I'm done talking about that guy.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, but unfortunately,
he's a good player, but he acts like he's a freaking top 5 player in the league. Like, dude, no, you're not. Nah.
I'll be honest. I think he's a product of the system, Kyle Shanahan's system. Yeah, and I think he's replaceable. You can't justify paying him when you got the all-world running back and Mr. Everything in Debo, and Purdy is on a.
You got a hell of a tight end in Kittle.
Debo's a better than he is.
Yeah, I'd rather get Kittle some money.
Yeah, and the thing is,
you got Mitchell also. So
I don't see Ayuk. I don't see Ayuk as a game changer in a different offense. I'm not saying he's not a good player. I'm not saying that he can't do some good things in a different offense and that he's just incapable of shining. I just don't think that that's the kind of player given that team's situation. And, Purdy is another guy that's going to be coming up. No, you can't. You can't justify it. And if I have to choose him or Debo, I'm choosing Debo because Debo does more stuff.
We see what happened when Debo doesn't play.
Yeah.
So they got to rely on, because Ayuk doesn't sting, but he doesn't. He's not Debo. He's not.
No, not by any means. And if you back it up to the 2021 season,
exactly.
Debo Samuel, this is before Christian McCaffrey was a 49er, was carrying a big load of that offense, playing out of position to do what was best for his team.
Playing running back and receiver.
Yeah, he was
doing it all.
Yeah. That tells me that Debo is more important than Ayuk. No offense to Ayuk.
Right, I agree. 100%.
Moving it along to Duval. Week 1, interstate rivals with the Dolphins. That's going to be a fun one. Week 2 against the Browns. Bills on a Monday night early in the year at Texas. One thing that I'm noticing about this particular division is that it seems like September is really hard on all of them.
It's a gauntlet, dude.
Indeed. One that I got circled is going to be at Philly, Sunday Night Football, at Detroit, at the Titans. Just looking, the reason I even mentioned the Titans is the cold weather element. Could that be a spoiled game? They closed the year in Indy. One thing that Jacksonville has consistently done is they've been a pretty good road team.
Yeah.
I'm going to flash along some of these additions via the draft. I really like this pickup, Brian Thomas out of LSU.
Mm-hmm.
I think Mason Smith, from a talent level, has a lot of Dexy in him. Quarterback Jarrion Jones out of FSU. Offensive tackle Javon Foster. We got defensive tackle Jordan Jefferson out of LSU. DeAndre Prince. Keelan Robinson, who's also a kick returner. Cam Little, the kicker. You know you're good when you get drafted and you're a kicker.
Right.
Miles Cole out of Texas Tech. I like the draft moves. Just going to move it over free agency for a moment. This is the play here. Eric Armstead is a huge pickup for this defense. Wide receiver Gabe Davis, plus your draft pick, is part of the reason why you were okay and comfortable with letting Ridley go. And I'll be honest. And how about Jeremiah Yellow Ledbetter? Yes,
Hey.
yes, sir.
That's him.
No, I'll be honest. This is my pick to win the division, and I haven't even talked about the Texans yet. The reason why I think Jacksonville is going to come back and win this division, a year removed from winning it, and then last year they missed, and the Texans got in. The Texans have the more talented, flashy situation.
Yeah.
But the thing that Jacksonville doesn't have that the Texans do, they don't have a target on their back.
Nope, not anymore.
And Doug Peterson's a really good head coach, and he's a former quarterback, and I think he's going to be able to hone this team in. If this team plays 500 ball at home, they're a 10-win team, maybe as far as 11. They're going to win this division. And not to mention, I have such a high opinion of ATN. I think he's going to have a boss year. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to cut down the turnovers. Evan Ingram actually catches footballs that are thrown in his direction these days.
I know.
But the defense is what I like about this team. I love the Armstead pickup. You still have the other Josh Allen, who's pretty good at football, too.
Damn defensive player. Yep.
This is a team that, in my opinion, should have won this division last year if Trevor Lawrence didn't get dinged up in that Bengals going into the Bengals game. And then you had C.J. Beathard, I believe.
Yeah.
Beathard, if you're a wise ass. He, it ended up being a game of backup quarterbacks because the Bengals had Jake Browning. Yeah, that Jake particular game.
Washington Huskies. Yeah.
And you told him, and you said he was going to be good.
Yeah.
But I feel that that's what sputtered, the beginning of the sputter for the Jaguars.
Yeah.
I don't think the Texans are that much better than the Jaguars. I just think the Jaguars got dealt a bad hand last year. I got the Jaguars going 10-7. I'm going to go 4-2 in the division, 10-7, and they're going to be your AFC South champions, surprising over a very flashy, popular pick in the Houston Texans. I like when you don't win a division, you draw second-place teams the next year. And just because they were second doesn't mean that they're going to be second again.
Right.
But the God's honest truth is this schedule, while it's still difficult, is slightly more favorable than what the Texans got in my genuine estimation. Just my opinion. I'm
going to go 4-2 in the division, 10-7 in across the league. I think with me, they have a team to win. Etienne, damn good running back. I mean, let's just keep going. Good pass catch off the backfield. I think everything is going to depend on Trevor Lawrence. And like I said, going back to Clemson, I wasn't too high on him because I said he likes to turn the ball over. And even last year, he threw some interceptions. Like, dude, who are you throwing to?
And just a bold prediction, they're going to beat Green Bay and Jacksonville this year because the weather's still going to be warm enough. That's not ideal for what the Packers like to do. No. That's going to be like a signature win for this team. They're going to be the Packer team that I actually think is a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah, I'm going to go the same. I think how they start will dictate their season. Because, I mean, right out the gate, they got the Dolphins, Browns, Bills, and Texans right out the gate.
And I think they could hang with Miami. I think it's gonna be a fun game.
I think they can hang with Miami. And they got Cleveland at home. I mean, it's not a stretch to say they could beat Cleveland at home. They won't. I don't think they'll go into Buffalo and beat Buffalo. That Texans game, who knows? Who knows what Jacksonville are doing walking in there? Especially if they walk in there. Yeah.
Not the same Buffalo team, and it's early in the year. If you're going to punch Buffalo in the mouth, that's the time to do it, September.
Yes, yeah. But I think Buffalo beat them. It's not, like I said, it's not crazy to think they can go in there and Houston beat Houston. Like I said, Houston got all the flashy and everything, and they got the target on them.
Mm-hmm.
They got the target, and if they jump out to a slow start, and Jacksonville walks in there 2-1 or 3-0, who knows? So yeah, and after that, what they got the Colts. They got the Colts at home. They go to Chicago. They got the Patriots. Then they got the Packers.
And the Patriots and the Bears, if I'm not mistaken, are both overseas because Jacksonville got that deal where they're doing 2 games this year overseas back to back.
Yep.
Their
next tough game. I mean, they got Green Bay at home.
They're going to win that game. I'm going to call it early. They're going to win that game.
It's possible. And the next tough game is at Philly, but then they're at home with the Vikings.
They'll lose to Philly.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's the next tough game they got. Philly. I mean, so I say 10-7, 4-2 in the division. I think they'll lose 1 to the Texans.
Yeah, they'll split. I see that as a split.
And I think the other one might be Indy.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see Tennessee beating them.
Nah, me neither. Not this year.
Yeah.
I noticed that the 2 Texans. I'm just looking ahead. They got the Jets in Duval, which is probably advantageous for them as opposed to going into slushy MetLife late in the year.
Yeah.
They're ending the season at Indy. That's going to be interesting. Which means that
against Joe Flacco.
I thought it was against Flacco.
Bretsky, what is your overall opinion of these Jacksonville Jaguars, and can they get back to the top of this division? Or will they? Will they?
No, they will not. I have them finishing 10-7, second place.
Yeah.
Idris, you hit on Trevor Lawrence. Richie and I talked about this off air. My trust has really shaken with him. He's still going to make those mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Game time decisions, and I get it. Peterson's a quarterback coach. You know what I mean? But it's just the guy has a lot of talent. He just makes dumb freaking decisions, dude. He's almost like what Josh Allen does. You know what I mean? If they can both limit the turnovers and the dumb decisions, man. I mean, oh my God,
it's the turnovers.
Who would know what they both can do with their teams?
But
you know
to be fair, last year, I do believe that Lawrence's receivers let him down on a more obvious way than other number 1, number 2 combos in the NFL, because I do believe that some of those turnovers were lack of poor route running or just not catching the damn football.
It was either poor route running or he misread.
It takes a little bit of everything. No question about that. But Calvin Ridley, watching him last year, had some serious brain lapses.
So it's I just don't trust Trevor and Richie. The schedule. Yes, I think that the 2 overseas games really do favor them because you saw what they did.
They're comfortable playing over there.
They do great overseas.
Bro, they were winless last year at that juncture of the year in Duval.
Yeah.
And posted up victories overseas.
Yeah.
They play great overseas.
I think that part of the schedule absolutely favors them. That's why I have them at 10 wins. I still have them finishing second in this division.
Me too. Wild card for the postseason? Yeah, wild card.
Yep, wild card.
All right, so Daniel Nunez here saying, I think Gabe Davis is going to be a big weapon for Trevor Lawrence. Do you think that he will have a similar impact to what he had when he was opposite Steph Diggs in Buffalo, or do you think he's going to be, how would I say, like more exposed as not looking like the weapon that he was in Buffalo?
I think he might get exposed.
Me too.
Me three. And it's not that he's not a good football player. I think what's important for somebody like him to shine is that he needs that bona fide number one.
Yes.
And while I have a high opinion out of the young man out of LSU, Brian Thomas, I'm not quite sure that he's there yet. The reason why I'm still picking this team to win this division is because I think compared to the rest of the division, and this is Houston included, we'll get to them in a minute, I think that they could muscle you. Just because they're a Florida team, this is the kind of team that could go into a cold environment and be in the game because of their running game and because of the ferocity of their linebacking corps and in what I believe is going to be a pretty good front line as well. I mean, you could make a case that their secondary might be a little sus, but I like them to win this division. I really do. At 10-7, I got the same record as Brett.
But you know what, Richard, the thing about the Jaguars, think about them over the last 2 years, if they just play decent at home, that's all they got to do. Is they can't win at home.
Yeah,
they go on the road. They play like freaking.
Yeah, they are a good road team.
You bring them home, you're like, they're gonna lose.
Yeah,
and I said it at the top. If this team is able to win 4 games at home,
that's just split at home.
Just 4 games, they will win the division, and I think they're going to be good for that.
If they could win, if they could split at home, I think they could win the division.
It's hard to do when 2 games that are being played overseas. You know what I mean? It's not really giving you a lot of options.
Yeah, but in the division games, if they can freaking split their division games, they'll be okay. But they cannot win a home game.
I got them sweeping the Titans. I got them splitting with Indy and Houston, but I think they're going to have a tiebreaker that weighs on the metric of conference record because let's not forget the Houston Texans draw more first-place teams this year.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the difference in my opinion. That is my honest difference. I think that the Texans have a tougher schedule because of some of the first-place teams they got to play. Because I don't see Jacksonville having to deal with the same challenge. Now we got the Texans starting their season off in Indy.
I'm gonna grab a quick beer, boys. Give me 1 second.
You're good, brother. Week 2 versus the Bears. Week 3 at the Vikings. Let the viewers check this out for a minute. I'll talk about the roster. We've got one of the better corners in my estimation, Kamari Lassiter out of UGA.
Yep.
I'm very familiar with Blake Fisher. He didn't get a lot of love because he's opposite Joe Alt. Very good lineman.
Irish, yep.
Kellen Bullock out of USC. Cade Stover, in my opinion, a top 4 tight end in this draft. Jamal Hill out of Oregon. Jawar Jordan out of Louisville. Jack Harlow's squad. Going to move it down a little. Key additions via free agency. We've got Daniil Hunter, the defensive end / linebacker. Defensive end, Danico Audrey, Aziz Al-Sha'ir, linebacker, Neville Hewitt. We got Miles Bryant, the corner. We got another corner, C.J. Henderson. Defensive end, Mario Edwards Jr. That's an interesting pick.
Yeah.
Tommy Townsend, the veteran punter. We got wide receiver Stephon Diggs, running back Joe Mixon, who are the big free agent additions due to notoriety. Now, Brett, you picked Jacksonville to finish second, qualify for a playoff berth. What are your thoughts here? Obviously, this is your division winner. Why are they winning the division? I'm going to let you start here, and then I'm going to pass it to Idris.
Well, my personal opinion, I have them finishing 11-6. But, we really haven't talked about the new kickoff rules. I think with this, you're going to see a lot of high-powered offenses start at the 40, 45, 50-yard line compared to the 20, 15, 10-yard line.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to see a lot of that all season long. And to do that to this offense, they're going to put up points. They're going to put up a lot of points this year, boys. And their defense has always been stellar. CJ Stroud, I think the kid is up and coming. He's going to be a superstar. But Joe Mixon, dude, I think he's going to take over as the veteran captain of the team. And he's going to be the guy to calm down Steph Diggs. If Steph Diggs not, if he can keep his mouth shut for a whole season and just listen to veteran guys and not be a freaking asshole, this team can do a lot of things. And I think Joe Mixon is the guy to calm him down. Joe Mixon, he's been through the playoffs, he's been to the Super Bowl. Granted, he lost, but he knows what it takes. You know what I mean? So I think Joe Mixon is going to carry that team quite a bit. But CJ Stroud, that kid's the real deal. But yeah, this new kickoff rule, I mean, boys, you're going to see a lot of high-powered offenses start at midfield this year. So it's going to put so much pressure on these defenses this year to really come through and force these teams to do 3 and outs. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But you're going to see a lot of high-scoring games this year, in my opinion.
Last question. Sorry. Okay. Last question for Brett. And basically the same question for both of you.
Mm-hmm.
Stephon Diggs is a member of this team now.
Yes.
Does he naturally outdo Nico Collins and become, quote unquote, the number one?
No.
I don't think, like I said, I don't think so. The reason I don't feel like us, because I feel, for one thing, the coach, D'Amico Ryans, he preaches team ball.
Mm-hmm.
Mixon run the ball, and he's gonna make Mixon run that ball because he know what he has in Joe Mixon.
Mm-hmm.
He knows what he has in C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud can run the ball. Quarterback, he's mobile. He's not flashy mobile, but he can move the pocket. He can take off downfield. Stephon Diggs is gonna get frustrated because he won't get 100 catches. He won't be the focal point. And I think he'll do like he did in Minnesota. He'll do like he did in Buffalo. Yep. And eventually he'll implode in Houston.
And I didn't even mention Dalton Schultz.
Yeah.
That's another
intricate member. Yeah. That's a lot of balls to throw. And see, those guys, Schultz knows how it is going back to Dallas. He knows I'm not the star, but he knows I'm a major piece. You got to get your ball to the tight end. Because that tight end is going to open it up for that running back because he's taking that linebacker out. That running back, okay, I got it, man.
This team's going to put up a lot of points this year, boys. A lot of points.
This October-November stretch is what has me a little concerned.
That's what I'm going to talk about. Early on, they got a lot of cream puffs.
They could be 5-1.
Yeah, but after they go to Green Bay, they go to New York, they go to Dallas, they go to Jacksonville, of course. They go to KC.
Ravens at home, but
at home.
It's the Ravens, though.
Yeah, they play the Ravens. They got Miami. Miami's Miami. And Miami's not going to go down there playing in the cold. They're playing in the stadium.
And this is what feeds into that point I was making.
Yeah.
About they might have a better roster maybe than Jacksonville slightly, but do they have the more favorable schedule? Because that's the bitch about winning your division the previous year.
You know something, Richie? You got Waddle and Hill going down in Houston playing on that track.
And do you remember that game just one short year ago when Joe Flacco looked like Patrick Mahomes for 3 hours against them?
I was getting ready to say that.
Amari Cooper was putting up Madden numbers.
Amari Cooper looked like when he was in Dallas.
Don't get me wrong. I think D'Amico Ryans is a hell of a coach, formerly a coordinator, defensive-minded guy.
Yeah.
And I will say this. I do agree with Brett to a level that Stephon Diggs is going to fall in line. But I think it has more to do with D'Amico Ryans than with Joe Mixon because of the sheer fact that D'Amico Ryans just don't play that shit.
And C.J. Stroud is a leader. We can see that.
I tend to agree.
That's his team. I tend
to agree.
And he's going to shut that. He's going to shut that. Now, look, you either playing with us. Because even Dalton Schultz, I've seen stuff with Dalton Schultz. He's like, look, this is what we doing down here. So Diggs better come there with a good attitude and realize, look, you are part of the team.
I
You
got
are
this.
not the focal point.
I got this weird vibe that the difference between them being a wild card and being a division winner, I got them making the playoffs as well.
Yeah.
10-7, just like Jacksonville.
I got 11-6.
You got 11-6.
But I got 11-6. That 11 was their ceiling. But I can see them winning 10 games.
I got this weird vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And quote me on this and take it back to the end of the year. I got this weird vibe that they're going to lose the final game of the year to the Tennessee Titans, which is going to be a little colder. It's not going to be most favorable. And the Titans are going to be way out of the race. Their motivation is going to be to screw over a division rival. And I think that's exactly what they're going to do. And be careful if Mike Tomlin's boys don't do what they do every year. That's like, oh, it's week 18.
Yeah.
We got to win, and we need like 3 people to lose. And we need the guy on the roof to throw an elbow and jump through a buffalo table, and all kinds of weird shit has to happen.
But Richie, you got a good point with that last game, because leading up to that last game, they got the Dolphins.
Uh-huh.
They go to KC.
Uh-huh.
They got the Ravens.
Yes, sir.
Then they go play the Titans.
That is a horrible finish.
That's a hard stretch. And then the Titans are going to be like, come on in.
Or it might be the kind of deal where they're already kind of going on a bit of a free fall, and maybe they beat the Titans, but it's too little too late. Because in the AFC, 10 wins will not guarantee you the playoffs, because you have the Chiefs.
Yep.
You have the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
You have a Jet team that some people think could compete for a Super Bowl.
Cincinnati.
You can't overlook Macaulay Culkin.
Exactly. Miami.
Yeah, dude, Joe Cool.
Who knows what Pittsburgh might do? We don't know.
I personally think Pittsburgh's going to miss the playoffs, but they're going to be a nuisance.
I think they're going to do good. I think Russ is going to play, but see, with Russ, he got that hamstring, man, and hamstring injuries we've seen through players for years. When you walk into training camp and you get a hamstring injury, you're seeing it's never the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's never the same. Look at Victor Cruz. Once he got that hamstring injury, he was never the same. After he couldn't stay on the field.
Yeah, because people associate, it was the knee, but it was also everything lower extremity after that.
Yeah, everything, right.
Because you can always tweak.
In the hamstring, I've had one, and that shit hurts.
Yeah.
It takes forever to heal, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's never something that always completely heals. You know, because you can always.
It never does, man. It takes a long time, man. So we'll see, but yeah, I'm going 11-6, 11 wins at the max. I think they'll get to 10. But the finish that schedule off, man. The Jets, the freaking Lions, the Cowboys, the Jaguars in Jacksonville, Miami, KC, the Ravens. That's no joke, dude.
Yeah, and that's what I was alluding to at the top of the hour. That I feel that they have the worst schedule.
Yeah, they got the worst.
They're in prime time more. And the thing that people lose sight of is that when you're constantly playing in prime time, that's not necessarily favorable.
That's pressure
to your preparation.
It's
not favorable to your weeks to come, because they're on the map now.
It's pressure.
And this is no lie. I have more trust and more faith in C.J. Stroud than I do Trevor Lawrence.
And that's all well and good, but I don't have faith in that schedule.
I have faith in that offense. I'm telling you, dude. That offense put up a lot of points this year.
Yeah, we'll see, buddy. When they're playing in Arrowhead in December, I want to see what that offense does.
Yeah.
See?
I want to see what that offense does in Arrowhead in December. Week 13 in Jacksonville, it's going to be a little nippy.
I've been to Arrowhead one time. And you know how that wind does in Arrowhead?
The swing game on this season could very well be Week 15 versus the Finns. That Miami game could be a real swing game, because let's not forget, Miami's also potentially going to be a tweener with going for the division title, because I see the AFC East Yeah, I'll say it. It's a 3-team race.
It is.
We already did the show. We all made our predictions. And no offense, Brett, your team is the one that's not part of this mix this year. But you got Buffalo, you got the Jets, and you got Miami. There's 7 playoff spots.
But I'm gonna say
the North is going to beat the shit out of each other. That much I know.
I'm gonna say it's about New England. They're gonna have a bad season, but they're gonna mess someone's life up, man. Because somebody's gonna walk into New England and be like, man, these are cream puffs.
Oh no, they're good for that shit.
And they're gonna be like,
it could be Buffalo.
They might be.
It could very well be Buffalo. It could be, I would say Miami, but they just have been so bad against Miami for a while that I don't feel good about that. It could be the Jets. That I could see. Oh, that'd be funny. That'd be funny.
We'll see.
Yeah.
They think Belichick's in the suite relaxing. He's actually talking to Gerard Mayo from above. Because one thing about Bill Belichick, he knows how to beat the fucking Jets.
The Texans go to New England.
Probably on his freaking headphones in the car in the parking lot.
Yeah. I mean, let's just have some fun with it. You know that technology and bending the rules has never been something that you guys were afraid of.
No, never.
The Texans go to.
At least he admits.
The Texans are the sandwich game between the Bills and the Texans. The Patriots. The Patriots are the sandwich team. The sandwich game between the Bills and the Texans. And the Texans going to Green Bay.
At Dallas, that's going to be a big one.
Yeah,
that's for state rights in Texas.
Peterson's favorite team, Dallas.
That's going to be a big one.
That's going to be a big one.
At Case, man,
he's a favorite team, dude. You gave him a lot of praise your last show, man.
I'm gonna take it a step further. I'm going to go on record and say that this Houston Texans team finishes 10-7, but they missed the playoffs.
I think they'll make the playoffs.
7-6.
I think they'll make that playoffs, but I think they'll be that.
They're going to screw themselves out of the 7 seed with that final month.
I think they'll be the last place division winner. I think they'll be the last place division winner.
So, you got them at 11. So 11's getting them in. Unless you're the 2008 New England Patriots, 11 wins is always going to be good enough.
Yeah, I think they'll get in. But
that was rare. What happened to the Patriots that year? That never happened. 16 games scheduled back then. Yeah, that was wild. And you had teams that qualified in each conference that were only 8-win teams. And the even worse part is they won games. That was a weird playoffs.
Yeah.
You had 9-win Arizona in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You had 12-4 Indy losing to 8-8 San Diego at the time.
Yep.
Was that the 7-9? Was that the 7-9 Seattle team?
7-9.
Yeah. That whole season was jacked up.
Yeah.
11-5. We had Matt Castle as their freaking quarterback. We didn't make fucking playoffs.
Yeah.
Tom Brady blew his knee out. I think it was like the second or third series of the season.
Yeah.
And that was coming off of
against KC.
Because I'll be honest with you, Bretsky, we're all over the place, but who cares? We're talking football.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, Brett. Going back to that particular year, I thought it was damn near a guarantee that the New York Football Giants and the New England Patriots are going to rematch.
Yeah.
You guys were the favorites going in for obvious reasons. You won 18 games the previous year. You still had Moss. You still had the squad.
Yep.
You won 11 with Matt Castle. Just to put it in perspective, how impressive that is.
Yeah.
You won 10 with Matt Castle. Brady got credited for the first win.
Brady and Plexico shot himself. So, I mean, we both screwed ourselves.
Yeah.
We certainly did. Yeah, Plaxico shooting himself. That was the beginning. And I'll be real with you. That particular season was the beginning of the end for the Giants' dominance over the Philadelphia Eagles organization, because two Giants that constantly dominated the Eagles were both gone after year's end. Plaxico Burress and Jeremy Shockey. Well, Jeremy Shockey was actually gone.
Yeah, he was,
Yeah, because after 2007, we went with Kevin Boss, and Shockey had a bad fallout with the organization.
Yeah, went to New Orleans.
Yeah, he won a Super Bowl there too. He didn't play in 2007 Super Bowl. Kevin Boss,
right?
Brett remembers, actually had the biggest catch in terms of yard value in the whole game. Anybody that would have bet that in Vegas was a rich man.
Yeah.
Anybody that said David Tyree is going to catch a touchdown in that game, let alone a helmet catch, is a rich man.
You know something about Matt Castle? And, he went to KC after that, and then he went to Dallas. And the thing about it, when he was in Dallas, there was a lot of Cowboys saying, yeah, Matt Castle. I said, dude, Matt Castle had one good season.
Yeah.
I said, he was a bust in freaking KC. Went to Dallas, and he's still a bust. I said, he just had one. I said, he was just part of a well-built team with a great coach.
Wasn't Mahomes hurt and Matt Castle made that? Was that him?
No.
Mahomes wasn't in the league yet.
You're thinking of anything is possible.
Yeah, Chad Henne. You're right.
Yeah, Henne. Yeah.
Yeah, you had about a 10-year. You had about a 10-year Rocky Balboa concussion gap right there.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for saying that because my little Mike Vrabel slip up doesn't look as dementia ridden now.
No, it's all right. It's okay.
It's all good, bro.
You're welcome.
Football is back, everyone. Not football related, though. I do have to say this since we're live and since we're talking some shit. Jazz Chisholm Jr., UCL injury acquired yesterday in a game where the Yankees got pounded by possibly the worst team in the history of all of baseball, the Chicago White Sox. We are in the month of August, kids, midway through, and the Chicago White Sox still don't have 30 wins.
Nope.
Think about that for a second.
Let me
Just
ask you a
really
question.
let that marinate for a second.
Let me ask you a question. Who gets to 100 first? The White Sox 100 losses or the Yankees 100 wins?
Yanks will not win 100 games with that bullpen.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
But tonight, Juan Soto going deep 3 times. As a matter of fact, before we get out of here, because I just can't help it. I'm a Yankee fan. Let me take a quick look at how this played out to finish. Our final is okay. The Yanks ultimately won 4-1. So the ultimate score here is Juan Soto 4, Chicago White Sox 1. Nestor Cortez picks up a victory. Do I want to get excited? No. You play the White Sox. Last thing. Did the Orioles win today? The Orioles got beat 9-3 at the hands of the Washington Nationals.
The Nats.
Yes, indeed. The New York Yankees currently hold a half-game lead, and we're back in first all by ourselves.
Hey.
You know what? I got a Chicago White Sox fan. He was talking shit to me all day today because the White Sox beat the Yankees. I said,
it's a game.
I said, y'all got one game on us, and you talking shit. I said, I hadn't heard. See, he's my buddy. He live in Chicago, but me and him are buddies for about 20 years. I used to go to his house when he was living in Indiana, and he just kept talking shit. I said, don't worry, tonight's gonna be a different night. He ain't called me. He ain't texted me. He ain't done nothing.
But I must admit, Idris,
yeah,
the team is that bad. I know it's just one game, and I'm thankful that the Orioles lost tonight. But bro, you can't lose that game.
No.
Give 2 shits what's going on. I understand a game's a game. It's a long season.
But you can't
think about this record, bro. 29-92. That brings futility to like a whole new metric.
Dude, they might get 100. They might win this 115.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back.
My bad.
That sounded like me.
That was you. I was going through videos and you popped up. One of the shows. But
no, go ahead. You could.
100 losses, man. And when they hit 100, I'm gonna put it on my homie's wall. I'm like, 100. Y'all made it.
Yo, final thought, non-sports related, but we dabble into the music and entertainment world from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta ask you this, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Recently, I have seen that the family of Tupac Shakur is possibly going to be pushing for some kind of civil suit, I believe, at Sean Diddy Combs.
Yeah.
Over the death of Tupac, as you know, the case is ongoing with Keefe D. It's getting interesting.
Yeah.
Does anybody anybody at the Apollo 97-ish, please, if you have that video of Jay-Z talking that ish over a dead man, can you please bring it to the forefront and share it? I know somebody had a camcorder back then.
Yeah.
Jay-Z, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Because the people that aren't talking shit on Puff either know too much or Puff has dirt on them.
Yeah.
Jay Freemason, he's untouchable.
Yeah, so he thinks. There's always somebody bigger, my man.
Always.
Yeah, we're getting all over. We've been talking about this for a minute, but Idris, we're overdue for a hip hop show. We got to make that happen soon. I want to get into some of this tea also because it's interesting. But let me ask you this last thing before we go off.
Yeah,
we know that Diddy's going to go down for a lot of things.
Oh yeah.
Is my favorite rapper of the '90s? Is he going to go down for that one?
Your favorite rapper of the '90s? What, Tupac?
Yes, indeed.
Or you think is Diddy going down?
Is Diddy going down? We know he's going down for other things. That particular case, is his implication somehow going to be shown to the light, or do you think it's just not enough to get that?
I think there's a chance based on the situation with Biggie.
I think he's going down for not Tupac.
I think so because see,
I gotta pee.
I think so, man. I just feel he had something to do with it.
More than something.
Yeah, more than something. Yeah.
As much of a clown as Keefe D is, you would literally need to like just be oblivious to think that he didn't have implication in that, because the one reason why I think he might fly on that particular one is because Zip, the middleman, kind of has enough to take that credibility away from Keefe D.
Yeah.
But truth be told, like if you follow the money, it really. And even this is another thing that I find rather interesting. 6 months after the fact, Tupac passed away. Peterson Auto Museum. Keefe D is seen with the Bad Boy team.
Yep, that's why I said I think so.
Like that familiarity was real, you know, and you can't put yourself at the scene. And does anybody truly believe that Orlando Anderson was just there by chance, by himself? He was meant to be seen that night.
And he's dead.
Indeed. For something else, but truth be told, like you know, anybody that wants to revisit that on a bigger level, you know, when you think about Death Row, you think about the labels. Death Row had goons that would have took care of that. Tupac had no business throwing hands with a Southside Crip. We could all agree on that. When you go into that world, there ain't no coming back.
Right.
That's a different code.
And I don't know why his fans, more like the newer fans, think Tupac was a gangster. And all that. Tupac said, I ain't no gangster. He said it. He was a artist who got involved in gang business.
Well, perception is a real motherfucker. And all I'm going to say is, when you take it to the events that happened in California with the demise of Christopher Wallace, anybody that thinks that the LAPD is not implicated is really, really oblivious.
Oh yeah,
it's way too obvious. You had dirty cops that were also in bed with Death Row at the time.
Yeah.
I basically see it as an eye for an eye, and this all started with two bodyguards that were beloved friends of each CEO, and ultimately the artist became the sacrificial lambs. Because in Tupac's case, the only difference that I'm going to say between Suge and between Puff is that I actually think that Suge had a legitimate love for his artist, whereas Puffy could have gave two damns about what happened with Biggie. That was an orchestrated hit on Biggie Smalls.
It was.
That was an orchestrated hit, and it was not an accident that on that Suburban, Puff made sure that on those big ass wheels that said "Think Big." They wanted to make sure that the shooter knew exactly where he was, and it wasn't a coincidence that Gene Deal was pulled off on that night, and it wasn't a coincidence that Puff wasn't in that car.
Yep. I
The
agree.
biggest leech in the hip-hop game is going down. And I've been saying this shit since I was 15 years old. Go ahead, Brett.
Yeah.
I think Snoop needs to stop smoking weed and testify.
Oh, don't
That
worry.
man-
He's been doing enough testifying behind the scenes. If you think that dude ain't an informant, that's a whole nother
Oh
conversation.
yeah. I like Snoop, but
That dude knows.
Oh no, Snoop testifies. He just don't testify in the public.
right.
Yeah.
He's become America's grandfather. But I got news for you. I got my issues with him to recant some of this, because if that's your man and you have that kind of street pull in 1996,
Yeah.
Hmm.
And you're a Crip?
I'm sorry.
Sorry. You're a Crip too?
I'm not buying. I'm
not either.
I'm not buying.
Was our Olympic ambassador. Our Olympic ambassador. That man has pull. He knows some shit. Put him.
He knows a lot of shit. But he ain't. But they will never do that, Brett, because that's not their bottom line. You have certain informants that are on this ladder, and I don't care what I get, what kind of shit I get for saying this.
Yep.
Snoop Dogg has danced through too many raindrops to not be an informant on some level.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Him, T.I., and I know a lot of Atlanta people going to say, T.I., why does it? The way I look at T.I. is like this. He was already a convicted felon. He got busted by the feds with a bunch of weapons and guns, facing 10 years. He got off on probation. When does the feds give you probation when you're facing 10 years fed time? When you're facing 10 years fed time, you're doing 10 years fed time, unless you got something to say. Unless you got something to say.
Unless you got info.
Yeah, unless you got something to say. If
And I'll be honest.
All you gotta do is look at the mafia. Look at Sammy the Bull Gravano. This dude killed 1,000 people. Not 1,000, but you know what I mean.
A lot of people.
Henry Hill, a lot of people. They did a lot of stuff, but they got off because they had something to say. The feds said, "Well, give us John Gotti."
Dude, the Denzel movie, American Gangster.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Frank Luke was a snitch too. All of them, yeah, snitches.
Yeah,
snitches. That's how you get off. Look at Tekashi 6ix9ine. But see, I give Tekashi 6ix9ine credit, and I know people. Look, he said I gave them up because they did me wrong, so I got them back. And people say, "Oh, I wouldn't have snitched." Look here, if they told me, Idris Salam, you are facing 70 years fed time. You either tell us who stole that guy's bologna sandwich, or you doing 70 years. I'm like, man, I'll tell you who did it, and I'll tell you who told him to do it.
Well, I'll be honest with you. When I think about the Gotti stuff, and this will be the final thing because we really went round the road.
Oh, yeah, we over. Yeah, we
this is cool. This is cool though. I'm enjoying this.
That's why we need to have a show where we just be talking.
Yeah, that's coming soon. But this is my last thing I want to say on the night, and then we'll refresh our picks one last time if anybody's jumping on late. The thing with Gotti, and while I understand the mindset of Sammy the Bull Gravano, and I don't necessarily see him as just some snitch, is because when your boss took making this into some movie shit that he always has to be in front of the cameras and got lackadaisical, hasn't he already kind of violated the code to a level?
Yep.
But you're supposed to shut up and keep that guy out of jail when you have kids too. And I'm not defending any of it. But the point I'm making is, it's a reasonable thing.
God is why the mafia is not like it was like it used to be.
No, like when Castellano oversaw things, it was ran like a Fortune 500 company.
Yeah,
it truly was.
It truly was.
Now, in case you were wondering why we're talking about this, we finished early. We just started chopping it up. But our final predictions, last chance for the AFC South. Mr. Salam, you said 11-6 for
Houston, 10-6 for Jacksonville, 10-9 for Indy, 5-12 for Tennessee.
Yeah. I had 11-6 Houston, 10-7 Jacksonville, 9-8 Colts, 8-9 Tennessee.
I got 10-7 around the board for the Texans as well as the Jaguars. I got the Jaguars winning the division. I have the Texans missing out because of a stumble in the last month of the season. I'm going to assume that somebody in the North takes that extra spot. Could be Tomlin's guys, or it could be the AFC East sending another team. But I got the Texans being the victim of a tough schedule down the stretch where things are going to sputter a little. For the boys, I am Richie. Thank you so much for hanging late with us. And I really enjoyed this show tonight. I didn't think that we would end up talking about Tupac, Keefe D, John Gotti, Sammy the Bull Gravano,
Big Paul,
and Big Paul Castellato. But sometimes it is like that. If you haven't already, please make it a point, like, subscribe to the channel, the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast on YouTube, and give this catalog a look. We got a lot of excellent episodes
yeah,
in the course of the past year. And if you want to see a couple of throwbacks that we have in the catalog, definitely check out our William Barnum Floyd episode, which was last season, as well as Eagles wide receiver coach and former Super Bowl champion, Mr. Aaron Moorhead. Phenomenal person, great coach, but God damn it, why do you have to be with those guys? Until next time, I'm Richie, and we are out.